online friendships, you're comic book guy and you're missing something.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm committing a logical fallacy here, but it seems like, since that's the case, that somehow the online friendships are deriving at least some of their value qua good in themselves friendships, which probably means they really aren't really just pure. They are somehow second class virtue friendships because somehow their value derives from the existence of the offline friendships.
So the Aristotelian picture, and the reason friendships are sort of on his radar, is because he thinks our ultimate goal in life is what he calls eudaimonia, which gets translated roughly as something like happiness or flourishing, and this has many different components. And for him, friendship is going to go into the mix, but so are things like health, and so are things like individual character, probably political stability, some money, lots and lots of different goods. And if the idea is that to be happy, you need all of those elements sort of harmoniously balanced in the right proportion so as to constitute a good life. If you took out one of those things, you probably wouldn't have a very good life anymore. So if I have friendship and health and politics and money but not good character, I'm not going to be living life to the fullest. If I have health and good character and politics and money but no friends, I'm not going to be living life to the fullest. If I have all of these things but no money, so you can go through so in that sense, yes, any given friend is only part of a good life. It's not the whole thing. And even within the realm of friendship, I think I'm pretty happy with the conclusion that it matters to us that we have a good social life, and not that social life is not going to be adequately met by any one person. And maybe this is sort of me getting a little political here, but I kind of like that result, right? I think there's something a little bit problematic about the idea that all our social needs should be met by one person or a couple of people. I think there's this tendency to over-romanticize romantic relationships sometimes, where we think that your romantic partner needs to be your everything. And I would say, no, you're almost everything. I mean, let's be realistic here. They can fulfill some needs for you that nobody else does, but it seems like a problem to rely on them to be your sole source of emotional support and everything all the time. And that the healthy relationship is one where they're not your be-all and end-all, and you have lots of different dimensions along which things are fulfilled. So I'm kind of happy with the conclusion that no individual friendship is going to be your be-all and end-all, but that's sort of part of my bigger picture of relationships, where we need a whole social web and not just one social connection to live the good life. And that's part of this bigger picture where we have a really complex account of social goods, all carefully balanced to be the best people possible and to be as happy as we can be.
Concerning the three different types of friendship, and does the eudaimonia have all three?
So his story is that what we really need for eudaimonia is
the
virtue.
And your thesis is that online can be virtue
friendships.
So not necessarily. You weren't saying that could be one of those three. Either one of those.
It seems pretty straightforward to say we can have online friends who are useful or who are pleasant, but
you were going for just that one, the virtue.
And that's the really interesting one for Aristotle's purposes, because that's the thing he thinks you can't do without. In fact, at the beginning of book 8, he runs this kind of thought experiment where he says, he doesn't run it as a thought experiment. I'll give you his version, and then we can look at the better version. What he says is, no one would choose to live even with all the other goods, if he had no friends. And you think, oh, come on, Aristotle, that sounds a little melodramatic. But then when he kind of goes through and refines what he says, and some of this might be translational issues, what it really seems to be is if you were given the choice between the life where you had absolutely everything you wanted but no friends at all, and the life where you had most of what you wanted and friends, most of us would choose the life with friends over the life with everything else. And that seems to suggest that they're not merely good as instrumental means to further goods, because that's what you've got in the life with everything but no friends. In fact, you've got more efficient means of generating all the other goods. But if friends are irreducibly part of the best life, then they belong in the account of eudaimonia. Happiness has got to include the social.
And did Aristotle ever exclude fuzzy logic? You have logos, pathos, and ethos, very crisply defined, but most people use a combination of one or more in just about every paragraph that they deliver.
No, I'm mostly happy with his account of the sort of rough and ready kind of, or rough guidelines kind of logic that he endorses at the beginning of the communicate ethics, where he says we're dealing with premises that are only for the most part true, and we should reach conclusions that are no better. We should accept that goods are sometimes going to be bad for us. That's just the nature of ethics. It's not a subject matter that admits of great precision.
Right. I agree.
I mean, it makes it a little bit more challenging to sort of deal with philosophically, because you make these claims and then you have to say, well, but there are going to be exceptions. But if that's what the subject matter admits of, then we look for as much headway as we can make.
Or is it just a philosophy that there's no black and white?
Exactly.
But as much as we'd like to have it.
Right. No crisp and clear guidelines here, but that would be a mistake itself on Aristotle's account. I like Rosalind Hurstahouse's take on this. She says something like, there are many youthful mathematical geniuses, but there are no youthful moral geniuses. You just need some lived life experience and, to be able to see the subtleties, because it's just not that kind of a field. There aren't clear rules. We've got to think our way through the muddle, and some of that is going to require trial and error, and some of that is going to require judgment that is just not reducible to bright lines, however complicated. Well, thank you all.
Thank you.